I didn't want to do a video like this, but I gotta be completely honest with you guys on how I feel about Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest as the recording of this video, because it seems like that Hiro Mashima didn't learn from his mistake that he made in the final arc of Fairy Tail when he decided to rush through some of the most important moments like Acton Logia's fight and Natsu's final fight with Zeref just so he could focus on other series. So this video, it's gonna come across as a rant, and you guys already know I'm a huge fan of Fairy Tail, so this isn't me being glad to hate on the series. I'm not a Fairy Tail hater, no. But I am disappointed with how Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest has been handled. If you're a manga reader, feel free to disagree with me in the comment section down below. I'm not saying that this is 100% factual. This is just how I feel. But if you do agree with me, leave a like and comment which part of Fairy Tail do you wish that Hiro Mashima would focus on more instead of going off and starting another series, because the pacing for Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest has not been good at all, because Hiro Mashima has just been rushing through each arc without ever really slowing down to explore the world building that he set up with each and every new arc. And I feel like he isn't utilizing the new characters or any of the old side characters that he introduces into the story to the fullest potential by giving them the proper amount of screen time. Like, I don't understand why Hiro Mashima is flying through each arc and getting straight to the part where Team Natsu seals away the dragon gods without focusing on the world building or giving the side characters any other time to shine. But I think that Hiro Mashima is focusing on his new series too much, like Dead Rock and the finale of Eden Zero, and he doesn't really care about Fairy Tail how he used to, because every single arc feels repetitive with how we meet the new dragon god, we seal them in around 20 chapters, and I don't get why Hiro Mashima is focusing on making new series when he can literally add new characters to the Fairy Tail story that are hype, just like how he did with the 5th generation Dragon Slayers and some of the alchemists. So me personally, I hope that Hiro Mashima does slow down in this arc, because right now we're supposed to be exploring the alchemy side of Fairy Tail. The same thing that Zeref, the biggest antagonist ever used in order to revive Natsu. So I was expecting to see some alchemists similar to Zeref, but no. We only really got revealed to the main alchemist guild, the Golden Owl Guild, and we haven't even learned about any of the other guilds, and these guys are said to be as strong as the 5th generation Dragon Slayers. So I don't understand why there aren't more powerful alchemists. I mean, there's probably like 3 at max that are looking super overpowered, and that is just super disappointing. Like, Hiro Mashima, you had a whole chance to introduce his whole new roster of characters with this whole new power scaling, and he just completely blew it by only introducing about 3 new alchemists and reintroducing God Serena in this arc. So there's not really too many characters that are super powerful from the alchemist side that we really know of, and we just got introduced to the 2nd strongest alchemist guild, or at least I'm implying that the 2nd strongest, since they are called the Silver Eagle or something like that, and these guys just look completely fodder. I'm not even gonna lie, like, I was completely disappointed seeing these other alchemist guild, and we do get revealed to a new alchemist that supposedly does have the Philosopher's Stone. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, Chief, I'm not even really too excited to meet him, just because Hiro Mashima, the way how he's been handling characters in Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, it seems like he doesn't really care for them, and he doesn't really care for developing him. And this is really bad for the future of Fairy Tail, because if he's not going to be invested to Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest right now, then he probably won't be invested in Fairy Tail Next Generation once Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest does end. And I mean, Hiro Mashima did say himself he was only going to do Fairy Tail Next Generation if we wanted it, and now that I'm looking back on it, that is a huge red flag, because it seems like that Hiro Mashima doesn't even want to continue the Fairy Tail story himself, and I'm just wondering, why wouldn't he want to continue this story that he already built up with this amazing world building? Why wouldn't he just continue to add on to that rather than starting over and making series that are similar to Fairy Tail? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm not the biggest fan of Eden Zero, just because it felt too much like Fairy Tail early on. I mean, yeah, the characters are their own life force now, but me personally, I'm not really too invested in Eden Zero. I'm not saying that it's bad if you are. I know a lot of people like it, but for me personally, I could never really get super invested, just because it seems like Hiro Mashima's been rushing through Eden Zero as well, as we can see with how he handled the fights like with Ziggy versus Jaguar or the other Aracian Saiyans. Like, Hiro Mashima it's obvious that some of his bad habits that he had with Fairy Tail, they carried on over into Eden Zero, like not drawing out training arcs and not making fights that are more than like 5 chapters. So that is why I haven't really done Eden Zero videos. I know some of you guys have been asking, yo, can you cover Eden Zero? Can you cover it? Me personally, I'm just not super invested in Eden Zero. I gotta keep it honest with you guys. But I definitely do think that Hiro Mashima, he can explore new parts of the Fairy Tail world that we don't know about, like the continent of Giltenia. This continent is supposed to be a continent that's even stronger than Ishgard, and so far, we only know about the strongest alchemist guild and the 5th generation Dragon Slayer. Like, that's kind of a disappointment. And there also are other continents besides Ishgard, Alaska Taskia, and Giltenia. So Hiro Mashima, he could come up with a whole new continent that's basically like a whole new world, and he could add that in the Fairy Tail 100-year quest. Like, I don't understand why he wants to make a new story when he already has places in the Fairy Tail world that we haven't even explored yet, and then he could flesh out the new alchemist guilds instead of just glossing over them like how he has been doing. And I definitely do think that he could actually start developing the Golden Owl Guild more. Like, why don't we know about any of the other alchemists in the Golden Owl Guild? It seems like their guild only has like 6 or 7 people, and only 3 of them are really top tier, with the Duke, Grandmaster, and with the Signario sister. It seems like everybody else is fodder, and I just don't understand why he would do that. Like, yo, that was the perfect opportunity to introduce some more top tier characters, people who are on par with Gray, Urza, Gagio. He could have introduced a whole bunch of strong alchemists, but we have like 3 alchemists who got taken out by Lucy, which she wasn't even fully tried. So I definitely do think Hiro Mashima, he needs to focus on Fairy Tail more if he doesn't want this series to end up being a flop. Because you guys already know, I was saying that Fairy Tail 100-year quest could be on the par of like Naruto Shippuden, the Dragon Ball Z part of Dragon Ball, but I gotta be honest, it has been lackluster just because it seems like it's just been getting too linear. There haven't been many plot twists like how there was in the original Fairy Tail series. Like, when Actor Logan showed up at the end of Tenro, everybody was like, whoa, we were not expecting that. And there's many other different plot twists. With Fairy Tail 100-year quest, it feels like we're just going to point A to point B, point C, and there's not really any plot twist. And the one time he did add a plot twist with the 6th dragon god Dogramag, he was defeated in the same arc he was introduced, and this guy was supposed to be Ignia's best friend. Like, I don't understand. Do you guys understand how much of a huge plot point that Hiro Mashima missed out on when he didn't decide to follow through with keeping Dogramag alive? I would have loved to see Dogramag and Ignia team up and them discuss the future of their plans. And Hiro Mashima, he keeps saying that he wants to do a story that has dark elements like with Dead Rock, but he could just have Fairy Tail 100-year quest have dark elements like having the 6th dragon god Dogramag survive and allow him and Ignia to destroy the world that we completely know of. Like, yo, I don't understand why Hiro Mashima isn't utilizing the characters that he has so he can make a story that is darker. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody who loves Fairy Tail and even the Fairy Tail haters, they wouldn't have anything to say if Fairy Tail 100-year quest took a darker turn. Now, I'm not saying they should kill off all the main cast, no, but people like Max, Jet, or Joy, or some of the other relevant Fairy Tail characters, yeah, you could kill them off and add a darker level of the aspect to the Fairy Tail story. And this will also add a sense of danger to the whole Fairy Tail world, because the Fairy Tail 100-year quest, there hasn't really been a sense of danger. Even though they are fighting some of the strongest characters in the series, it seems like that at the end of the day, the plot armor has them covered. And the most disappointing part about Fairy Tail 100-year quest is the fights so far have been lackluster, because for every single fight, it seems like they only last about 5 chapters at max. And depending on how Hiro Mashima handles Urza versus the Scenario Sisters and Jalal versus God Serena, this will be a huge breaking point for how I view Hiro Mashima and his series going forward. Because if he's willing to rush through these fights and not give any thought to them, then this is going to be a real bad sign, and it's going to be hard for me to try to stay invested in the future fights for any series that he's making moving forward. And I'm not saying that all the fights in the series have been bad, but it seems like the most important ones are the ones that should have lasted longer. They only last like 5 chapters, and I don't understand why Hiro Mashima won't give us a battle like Sukuna versus Gojo in Jujutsu Kaisen, where we see that the fight has lasted for like 13 chapters. And I mean, at this point, that is literally the only thing Fairy Tail is missing. Just give us long, epic fights. We already know the story's going to be good, so I don't understand how Hiro Mashima hasn't just given us some amazing fights by now. I mean, he's not a rookie. He's literally been doing this for like 10 or 15 years. So I definitely do think the biggest thing that Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest is missing is the fights, because we already know that the plot and the world building has potential to be great, but the main thing that's holding it back is giving us some iconic fights that we'll be able to get excited for once the anime does come out. But the way how Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest has been going, it looks like that potential will never be fulfilled. And I seriously do think that Hiro Mashima doesn't care for the Fairy Tail series like he used to. And this is why he's focusing on the new series like Dead Rock, just like how he did with the final arc of Fairy Tail when he rushed through that just so that he could start Eden Zero. But my biggest question is, why has Hiro Mashima been in such a hurry to finish up and wrap up the Fairy Tail story just to start these new series that haven't even been completely different from Fairy Tail? In the beginning, a lot of people were saying that Eden Zero was just Fairy Tail in space, and even with Dead Rock, we see the new main character. He's literally Acnologia, like he has Black Dragon power, so why not reintroduce Acnologia through Beta Heaven and honestly just have Acnologia in the story of Fairy Tail? Like, I don't really like that Hiro Mashima is literally taking Fairy Tail elements and just put them into other series and try to really use it as cash grabs. Like, no, just focus on Fairy Tail and then just make Fairy Tail great and explore the world building and develop the characters and the plot to a point where we know that Hiro Mashima can do, and to stop just doing it on a surface level. Because if Hiro Mashima is giving this little effort for Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, then I don't even want Fairy Tail Next Generation. I'm just being honest with you guys, Chief. If Hiro Mashima isn't going to focus on the Fairy Tail series, I'd rather him just end it with Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, just so we don't get some half-hearted series like Fairy Tail Next Generation and then have the characters not be developed and the world building not be explored. So this is why I'm saying that this is bad news for the Fairy Tail series as a whole. If Hiro Mashima isn't going to be focusing on Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest and he's going to be more focused on making new series, then this will mean that he won't be putting his full effort into the Fairy Tail franchise, and this could lead Fairy Tail to becoming one of the biggest disasters in all of anime and manga history. Comment what you guys see down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Have a blessed day. Remember that God loves us and he gave his only son Jesus Christ to die for our sins. Peace out.